Sevgili Caz Dergisi takipçileri, ben Sanat Deli Orman. Öncelikle tüm kadınlarımızın Kadınlar Günü'nü buradan kutluyoruz efendim. Ve bu özel günün şerefine çok özel bir konuğumuz olacak. Korona Caz Kliniği video serimizde o tüm Türk caz vokallerinin anası sayılabilir birisi aslında. Akıl anası da diyebiliriz, akıl hocası, çok sevdiğimiz bir eğitmenimiz ve vokal koçumuz Randy Esen bizlerle birlikte bugün ve siz caz vokaller için çok özel bir program ve çok özel bir röportaj hazırladık. Şimdi mikrofona sevgili Randy'yi davet ediyorum ve programın bundan sonrası tabii İngilizce devam edecektir. İngilizce konusunda sıkıntısı olanlarımız da altyazıdan ne konuştuğumuzu takip edebilirler. Şimdi Randy Esen'i mikrofona davet ediyorum. Merhabalar Randy. Hello.
Hello. Merhabalar. Hello everybody. How are you?
We are fine because you're
Yes.
here.
Thank you. Well, I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's a real treat for me. Thank you.
Oh yes, and it's already this good energy. Your vibes are coming here, and this flourishes here, and I'm so happy to take you as our guest in this Corona Jazz Clinic series. Actually, I already got tired of this Corona word of it, but the
I'm
jazz
sure.
clinic. Yeah, the jazz clinic part is the most important for us because we all need good energy, we all need good vibes, and your nice advices for all of us in these strange times because it's been almost 12 months. It's amazing.
Incredible. Yeah, in the middle of March, it's going to be a year. Well, Sanat, I think it's also wonderful that you're doing this and that you're keeping the energy going. And you've always got beautiful projects going. And in any way that I can support you, I am here for you. So I want to thank you as well.
It's my pleasure, dear Randy. And I want to start this interview with a very,
Sure.
very classical question.
Of course,
Uh,
sure.
yes, first start from you before coming
Okay.
to the vocals. Because,
Okay, sure.
yeah. How was your first reaction to the lockdown period as a teacher, but first of all, as a human being, of course?
Well, that's a big question, isn't it?
Mhm.
Uh, I'm a news junkie, so I was watching what was going on in the world in Asia, and I kind of knew it was coming here. And I
Mhm.
remember telling some of my students who I saw the last few times, I said, you know what? I think we're going to lock down. So I think you should. I was following the news and I knew it was coming. I mean, I was shocked, Sanat, but I'm a person who likes to stay home a lot. I mean, I love to go out, teach, go see people perform, but the rest of the time, I'm pretty much a homebody, a family person. And I love TV, I love films, I love reading, I love working on music, being with family. So, in that sense, I kind of felt like, oh, everybody's doing what I usually do most of the time. So, that was kind of fun. No, it was shocking and confusing, and my creative energy left. I've heard this from a lot of people. I couldn't touch the piano. I
Mhm.
couldn't even
When did
listen
it happen
to music.
exactly? Can you remember it?
Oh,
Did it
right,
happen
right.
all of a sudden or took
I
time?
mean, I was teaching up until I think around the 13th or so of March,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
when we had the first lockdown.
Hmm.
And that was pretty shocking. And I don't think I even went online. I just stopped teaching and my piano
Hmm.
wasn't here. I just had this little MIDI keyboard thing.
Mm.
Um, right from the get go, I stopped. And then there was this period where we kind of started going out again. Do you remember before the second lockdown, the most recent lockdown? And
Yes,
I
yes.
started teaching in Maslach, and that was great. For a couple of months, I started teaching at this nice gallery space. No, not gallery
So
space.
you could conduct your lessons for a while.
Yes, and people came one at a time, and it was a big space that I'm using now. So
Ventilated.
we started, yeah, ventilated, we kept space, and that was good. I was teaching about 2 days a week there, and that was
Mm,
great. I felt
great.
alive again, invigorated. But then we all locked down again. And
Yeah.
now I've been home, and yeah, it's been hard to be creative at home But I would say about 3, 4 months into it, I started writing because I'm writing for a recording, and I have a
Mm-hmm.
project that I've been doing for the last year and a half, um, with Kerem Can Dündar, from Portrait in a
Mm-hmm.
Dream, and Cenk is part of it too. And I
Yes.
started, all of a sudden, the creativity came back. I have no idea
Amazing.
why.
Amazing.
Just keep the
Did,
piano on in the corner, and that helps. Just keep it there and just pass by, and eventually it just came back, Sanat.
that's so interesting. Maybe everybody had this cycle in different with different timings, but at the end, I'm so happy that everybody came back to their creativity zone.
Yeah. Oops, we got
But
frozen. You got frozen.
but yeah, but there was a challenge that stayed, of course, this distance teaching, or let's say,
Yeah,
uh,
it's not
are
the
you?
same. It's not the same. I'm
Yes,
doing it
yes,
now. I'm doing it now.
yes.
It doesn't work for me. What works for me online, I only have 4 or 5 students who are committed enough to do it online. I give
Mm-hmm.
mostly improv work and writing assignments because the singing for me online just doesn't work. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
if I had a better setup, somebody has told me they're going to help me to get a better setup. I can't really
Yeah,
hear people sing. So what I do is I give them written work and improv work, simple work, and then I have them send me recordings. And then I
recordings.
make
Yes.
I make comments from the recordings, and I think
Mm-hmm.
of that as part of the lesson. It's not fair to the students to hear them online. If they don't sound good and they're very uptight about it. And I find the recordings are great. I think I'm going to incorporate that more into my regular teaching too. So I've learned
So
that.
from
That's
the
great.
live lessons, you switch to the recorded ones because we always have this internet challenge.
Yeah.
It's not always homogeneous.
No.
Sometimes it really gets stuck, and
And the sound is
s-
so bad, and the delays
yeah,
and all that. But Sanat, something I wanted to say to you, to go back to your very important question. I found that a lot of people were beating themselves up because they stopped being creative, they stopped doing music or reading, they were all, watching Netflix like me. I think everybody should just relax and be kind and allow
hmm
themselves to go with the flow and just do whatever feels right, because this
yeah,
is a very strange time for all of us, and we're just trying to survive and get through it. And I think everybody should use this time to be kind to themselves and give themselves patience, and maybe just appreciate, spend some time with gratitude and appreciation, tolerance, but not beat themselves up if they're not being creative. I've seen
how
that a lot.
beautifully how beautifully you put it, because that's the centerpiece of the process. Maybe being
Yeah,
kind to ourselves, then we can be kind to others, and
yeah.
to whatever we are doing. Actually, our connection with music can be revived, or can be brighter in that
Yeah,
way.
inspired. And if you're creating out of an impetus, as an inspiration of should, I should be doing this. Oh, why am I not doing this?
Yes.
What's wrong with me? She's doing it. He's doing it. This is gonna. You're finished. You're finished. Creativity
Yes.
should be free. Leave your piano on. That's what I'm telling everybody, or your guitar. If you feel like it, pop over to it, visit it, say hello. If you don't, let it go. Let it. Creativity will not flow if it comes from a place of should. This is something
Mm-hmm.
I've learned over the years, but especially now.
Yes, and there should be some changes in the approach, in terms of approach. I mean,
Yeah.
about your students.
Yeah.
How were their reactions in the beginning and towards this?
Oh
Towards the
boy.
other months, the coming months,
Oh
how things
boy.
changed.
Oh boy. I mean, everybody was pretty different about it, but I think the most common thread was fear. I
Hmm.
think that the unknown, the fear, and a lot of my students are quite young, most of them, especially I've taken on some new
What's the
students.
age bracket?
Well, I would say from late teens, few from late teens
Late
to
teens.
late teens, but now I take more, like, I'm really into working with young 20-year-olds. I love this generation.
Mm.
But
Hmm.
20s to my oldest student is 50. It's a big range. But
Yes.
fear. fear of the unknown and not being able to be in control. Because with my students over the years, we do talk a lot about letting go of control. Because I have to say, most of my students are extremely intelligent and used to being in control. And this is scary enough just to, solo on a couple of bars, but to live with this crazy COVID, God knows what's going to happen tomorrow or down the road. The fear, I think, is the most common thread, Sanat.
Just like the theater called Waiting for Godot, I sometimes
Yeah,
feel like that. We are
exactly.
waiting for Godot.
Exactly. And then there's going to be another one. So, but yeah, it's been tough. I think people are in a little bit of panic, but I think, as I said, same thing. If you just are kind, calm down, wait it out, we'll see.
Yes, yes. But why you are so important for us? Not as a teacher, also you have a very special place in our hearts because you are not just a
Mhm.
vocal instructor. You are a mentor. You are a coach, and you are
Yeah.
like a mother at times, and you give a lot of importance.
Thank
You are
you.
a mother, of course. You're a
Yeah.
beautiful mother, but also you spare your motherhood. You are so
Yeah.
generous about it, and you share it also with us throughout these years. And
Yeah.
you also give a lot of importance to the personalities of each of your students.
Must be,
So
must be, must be. Yeah. It's a
yes,
must. Yeah.
so yes, so everybody can have this fear. This is a common feature, of course.
Hmm.
But in terms of personal development, were there people or aspiring vocals, young people,
Hmm.
especially because I hear most of the time they are having more difficulty motivationally? Was there any fall in their downfall or fall in their motivation?
Everybody was demotivated. And I
Mm.
think it's the older students who have more
Mm.
trouble because
Really?
they're already dealing with the fact that they came late to this music, or why didn't
Mm.
I work harder 10 years ago and now
Wow.
this, and it's a double whammy. This is something I deal with a lot, Sanat. This people feel demotivated, then they get angry with themselves, and then it causes them not to do anything. And then the whole cycle starts again. And one thing I was working on before this whole thing started, and I hope to start it up maybe April, May, who knows, June, July, I'm going to
Mhm.
start doing support groups for
Hmm.
singers. This, I'll start out with the singers I work with, they'll be safe, because I'm hearing these themes of a little bit of loneliness, demotivation. Why am I doing this? Why didn't I do it before? Oh, now there's this virus. So what's the point?
Yes.
I think people need to talk together and they'll feel better to hear that they're not alone in this. The virus has just exacerbated all of this for them. More the older ones, I have
Hmm.
to say.
So it's amazing. It's beautiful that you set up that
Well, I
groups,
want to.
talk
That's
groups.
what I'm going to do. And when it happens,
Uh,
we can talk about it because I have
yeah,
this.
please let
Yeah, I
us
mean, I
know, and we can also announce it in the jazz magazine because this jazz clinic is not just it consists of video interviews. Also,
yes,
we put some news about such, some stuff like this.
yeah, it would be great. And I'll do different series because I'll do the people who are my private students. That will
Very
be
good.
different because they'll feel a little bit safer. But then maybe I'll
Hmm.
also open it up to people I don't know, and that will be more kind of instructive of how to get started, how to be motivated, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So yeah,
That's great news.
community, Sanat, community. You and I have spoken about this. We need a community that supports us, that we're part of. Otherwise, the loneliness, the alienation, it doesn't help us to be creative or happy.
You're really right. And
Yeah,
maybe most of the times singers have a lot of challenge about this, maybe
much more
to
than
speak
instrumentalists,
frankly.
for
Yeah.
sure. You and I have
Yeah.
spoken about this over the years.
Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
No,
Yes, yes, yes.
no question about that.
Because a singer can just sing on her own with a group, but an instrumentalist needs the other instrumentalist
Yeah,
to make the music together. And
yeah.
so I always feel that we as vocals should be more careful about this urges to be more egoist. Actually, we should communicate more with each other. We should.
Absolutely.
You were always saying, please visit your friend's concert. We should be very careful about this. For example, if you are going to a concert of your friend, a colleague, a singer, you should go to her concert just or his concert really to listen to her or him, not to make some arrangement with the musicians, guys. If you want to
Or
get
not to,
musician, guys,
or not to go down and smoke the whole time and not come up
or
and listen,
yes,
or
or
talk during the whole concert.
yeah, for
Yeah,
example, if I want to work with a musician, then I go to his concert
yeah,
because that's what I am interested in.
yes, yes.
Then maybe we should be more frank about this, and we should support each other as vocals more and frankly.
Absolutely. This is what I've been working on for years.
Yes,
And
but
also,
it's really challenging.
and also going to a colleague's concert as a learning experience. You know, it
Yes.
amazes me because as a teacher, I go to hear my students at least once a year, and I
Yes,
take
you're
mental
great at
notes.
that.
Sometimes I even write them because and I'm hanging on every word, like, maybe we should do this in the lesson. Oh, even silly
Ah,
things like
okay,
she
very good.
never smiles. I'm there to learn. And all of the fellow vocalists, aspiring vocalists, a la students, whatever you want to say, they should be there learning as well. So I
Very
get
clever.
frustrated. I don't know about this stealing musicians, but I'm not surprised. I've actually had words with some of my students. I said, you went to hear so and so, and the whole time you were downstairs smoking. Why are you not upstairs watching and hanging on every word? That's what I would want them to do for you. So it's a mindset. Hopefully, the support groups will help.
We have these challenges. Always we had challenges, but we also have extra challenges now about motivation, about this
Mhm,
fear, waiting for
mhm.
Godot. And but still there is a lot we can do. And I really appreciate your
So much,
approach.
so
And
much, so much, Sanat. You know, something I think we're talking on the same wavelength. Uh, my goal with singers is not only that you become skilled, creative, confident, but independent. Because my method, I mean, I've changed it and adapted it much more than when I was first working with you. I have a really good effective, I don't want to use the word good, I hope it works, effective approach that really helps a singer, a vocalist,
Mhm.
to work at home independently and be able to do what you need to do
Let's hear
a
that.
lot of
I'm
the
real
time
curious.
without needing other musicians.
Hmm.
But of course,
So we can.
part of what we're going to talk about is playing with other people too. But there's so much work a vocalist can do at home alone or in a studio. So much work. If you do it in the right order, I believe, with it kind of with a design, with a business plan, and also
Mhm.
on a regular basis and cover the basics. I think this idea, I'm so glad you brought this up because I really wanted to talk about this. Thank you. Is
Yes,
this
we
becoming an
can open a
independent,
parenthesis.
it will come when I go through the basic things of what I think a
Yes.
vocalist needs to do. But having this independence, gaining this independence as a vocalist slash musician is what most singers
Mhm.
are lacking. And leads to that feeling of alienation, not belonging.
Mhm.
It will help.
Very good point. I'm really curious, but first you want to start from the basics, as far as I
Yeah,
understand.
whatever, whenever, if you'd like to talk about something else, whatever. But
Of course, this is actually the exact time, because I would just ask you if you could give us a list
yes,
of advices about these times, because of
yes.
course you must have an already set up list, but a list that is adapted to these times for vocals to survive, and not just for today, a list for maybe the next coming 2 years, or a longer
I mean,
period
so not
time
the
slot.
my approach and my list is forever because what people don't understand, I think, is that the work is not at the lesson. It's what happens between the lessons. And that is being at home by yourself and shedding. Do you know that term? Shedding. It comes from in the old days, you'd go to the woodshed and you'd be by yourself and you'd be isolated. Most jazz instrumentalists shed. They stay at home for hours, hours, hours, hours, hours, and work, work, work, work, work. Singers, because it's our voice, we're limited, but there's in terms of hours and time we can spend on it. But this approach is anytime, because it's isolation. You need isolation to do it.
And this is the right
It's
time
the
to do
best time to do it if you
it.
can
Yes.
if you can get over this fear and this
Hmm.
sense that you should do it. And it's really, really basic. And then in addition to that, of course, there are, of course, if you can take the lessons, but you can do them online too. It's really important. But isolation is the thing that you need the most as an artist.
So let's dig into more to your advices for young and aspiring jazz vocalists who are living in Turkey, especially.
Okay.
I
Yep.
underline this this stuff, this point. So for a lifetime, not I won't use the word career, but a way of living.
Mhm.
What would be your new advices for them? What would be your
I'd
list?
like to say it's new, but it's not new, but it's just more intense because of the situation we're in, the
Yeah.
virus times. First of all, Sanat, the main thing is I think that every vocalist, male, female, whoever you are, whatever age,
Hmm.
once you've made a decision, we're talking about jazz, right? Because I also work with people who
Yes.
sing groove and pop, but
Yeah,
we're talking
yeah,
jazz.
yeah. You're also
First
doing
of
that.
all, yeah, lots of it. I love soul and funk, and groove. But the most important thing that I would say to a student, first of all, is sit down and write down for yourself why it is that you want to perform and sing in this particular genre. A vocalist, an aspiring jazz vocalist, really needs to know why they want to do it. It's a very important question, and I think a lot of vocalists, aspiring vocalist students, go into it for the wrong reason. So, or a reason that's not going to serve them in the future. So, I think it's a really important question to ask. Or maybe it's just that I want to sing pop, but I know that jazz education is really the best education I can get, and I don't want to do classical. What is the real reason? Take a lot of time to think about it because that will determine the course of your study. So this is something kind of new I'm thinking about.
And can
Then,
I ask a
yes,
little
sure.
question at that
Of
point?
course,
Sorry
please,
for interrupting.
at any point, Sanat, please, because you know me, I'll talk for days
No, no, no, no, no, no. I don't mean that. But
without stopping.
for example, you underlined the word wrong reason.
Yeah.
Can this reason also be wrong because that reason doesn't belong to that person? Maybe a reason can be right for another, but that
Maybe.
person
Yeah.
aspires to be like the other one, but she or he is not that one. Can
Yeah.
also
I mean,
should we also
yeah,
filtrate this?
it's a wonderful point, a good detail to pick up on, because actually the word wrong is not a nice, I should have chosen another word
Oh
because
no.
I try to stay away from right and wrong. Basically, a reason that will not serve you, as you said. So, for instance, you go to a jazz club and you see a singer dressed up in a shiny dress and everybody's clapping and they think, oh, I'd like to do that too. Or my friends are doing it, or, a very superficial reason, if I say.
Okay.
Again, it speaks to what you said. You should make sure, because this is a big commitment, that if you
Mhm,
really want to become a jazz vocalist, I'm not just talking about studying jazz, that's different. We can talk about that later. If you
mhm,
really want to commit to becoming a jazz vocalist on a serious level, not as a hobby, we're talking about, you have to
mhm,
know why you're doing it. And you have to keep reminding yourself of why you're doing it. And in saying that, you must be able to speak English properly. I've become militant on this point
hmm,
because this is an American form of music. It's actually an African American form of music.
mhm,
It's our only true American form of music,
mhm,
and that started there. And this is an English music. It would be. I often use this example. If I wanted to sing Turkish sanat music, right? Turk sanat music, and I didn't speak Turkish, what would you think? Would they let me in the school?
I have a question at that point.
Would you let me in the
I,
school?
I always think
Yeah.
about it because we are not native speakers. So at some point we always, you know,
Yeah.
but is it more viable for the songs that were already written in English and we are just performing them? They are not our music, actually. We are just performing them. For example, if I write
No.
my own song, which is not from the American songbook, is it still the same?
That's a whole
Would it be the
different
same?
topic. That's a whole different topic. I mean, it depends. We're talking about a style of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about the very basic, one of the basic, if you're writing in the jazz genre, it's jazz, even if you write it
Okay.
in Turkish. But if you're going to study jazz as a serious jazz vocalist, you have to learn the language of jazz. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be perfect English, but
Okay.
it should be at least advanced beginner when you start. No program should accept jazz vocalists who don't have a basic ability to speak English. A lot of
Okay.
grammar mistakes, fine. Pronunciation we can work on, but
Mm-hmm.
it's. I mean, I've had discussions with people about this, and you can't do it. It's just not
Okay.
possible.
I took it as a dialect problem, so I
Yeah,
asked that
yeah.
question. So
It's
of course we should
English.
know English. Okay.
It's
Already
yeah.
know English. Okay.
Yeah,
That's your
it
point.
doesn't have to
Okay.
be perfect, but you also have to commit to making your English better. And I also think
Mm-hmm.
in jazz programs in Turkey or in any foreign country, they should have classes devoted to pronunciation and
Mm-hmm.
discussing songs in English and
Mm-hmm.
how to pronounce the words, how to understand the words, how you sing English phrases. I think it's a missing
Okay.
topic, a missing class in programs in foreign schools, that non-native English speaking schools.
Okay. Okay. So we were
So
talking about the right motivation to pick
okay,
up
so
singing
yes, so
jazz.
what, so
This was one of
why,
the ballads
so
in our list.
exactly, so you've decided, I want to sing jazz because I love jazz. I've been listening to it for years. It touches my heart and my soul. I just have to do it. I can't live without it. And you should know who you love. If you really want to be a jazz vocalist, you're going to tell me 10 singers, or not just Ella, not just Billy. You should be, I love this song and I love that song. And oh my God, Miles Davis. And the passion has to be there, because
Okay.
it's hard enough, Sanat, without the passion to do it. It's a very serious commitment, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. So those are the first
Yes.
two things. Uh, you know, and again, uh, to understand that being a jazz vocalist means that you must work on your musicianship,
Mm-hmm.
not only just
Yes.
singing in a nice dress and high heels and looking great and
Mm-hmm.
everybody
Mm-hmm.
claps, but also being able to communicate with the musicians and understand the music. I mean, you don't have to be great at harmony, incredible at theory, but you have to have a working knowledge of what's happening in jazz. You have to have the basic musicianship to understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of comes to my list
Yes.
of the basics
Yes.
that you probably know already, but if you want, I
Yes.
can go over it for you. So again, ask yourself why you're doing this. I can't stress
Yes.
that. And put it
Especially
on your wall.
nowadays.
Yeah, and put it on your wall.
Because we cannot get dressed and get on stage nowadays. So it's
Yeah,
just us and the music. We
yeah,
are in
and
direct connection.
this is about music and about creativity. So what the goal should be, to become the most creative, skilled, independent, confident jazz vocalist slash musician that I can become, with passion. It's
Yes.
so important. When singers come to me and say, "Oh, could you recommend songs?" and "Oh, I don't know which singers to listen to," I'm like, "What's going on here? Maybe you should reassess
Something
if
is
you
going
really
on,
want to
that's
do."
for sure.
Yeah. And I don't mean to be cruel, because that, fine, then do it as a hobby. Great.
Okay.
But you know what
Okay,
I'm saying?
that's a hobby thing. Yeah.
I don't mean to be cruel. This is tough love, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
I'm giving you.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
basics are not, which you know. The first, so of course,
Business basics.
the
Yes.
English, some working knowledge of English, and a willingness to get better and better in English.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most important thing after that is listening to, like you're doing with your student, to every kind of jazz that you can get your hands on.
Yes.
And as much instrumental, maybe even more than vocal. But here's the point. When you listen, you should not do playlists. You should choose one or two artists, sit down. I mean, at first, maybe listen and think about who you like and whatever, but do analytical listening, not just playlists of jazz. Sit down, choose a few artists, one at a time, with your pad and paper, your computer, whatever you've got, your phone, and start to really analyze what's going on. Look at the phrasing, look at the sound, look at the emotional impact. Take the artist from the beginning of their career to where they went to and really look at what happened with their development. A very serious study of an artist.
Yeah.
Not like a little bit of Anita, a little bit of Ella, a little bit of Diane Reeves. No, really delve into what's going on. Start with the people that touch you. So listening, instrumental artists are very important. Also, watching every jazz documentary you can get your hand on about history,
That's
biographies.
the easiest nowadays.
Exactly. The great jazz documentary of Ken Burns, if you can get all the episodes, I don't know. There's wonderful documentaries, there's books, there's biographies, philosophy books of jazz artists.
Yes.
Immerse yourself in jazz history, jazz culture, and listening. This is key. And while you're doing that, you can make lists of, and start with the people that you really like. So, maybe choose a horn player, a vocalist, or two vocalists you can contrast, but really do the research. This is how you really decide kind of what you love. Yeah, very important. Listening, learning, and this analytical listening. And also watch a lot of live performances. Again, taking notes. What's he doing up there? What do I like? Oh, what don't I like? What's happening with the movement? What's happening with the band? Live performances on YouTube when we can. Again, live performances here in Turkey. Go support your friends. Take notes. It's a study. It's serious business.
Is it also nice to listen to the same song from the same group, but different takes, different performances of that?
Yes. Now that's a different thing that you can add. That's listening to that's repertoire work.
Analysis for
When we get to repertoire, we can talk about that. But this is now about jazz music. What is it? What's happening? Long phrases, short phrases, vibrato, soft. Really take notes. And I encourage you as a teacher to make it more specific. Like I often say to my singers, choose two singers, make notes, and a horn player, and come back and let's discuss it.
Okay.
And it also helps you start to begin developing your style, because you'll see what you connect to, what you feel like you could maybe sound like, because I think we tend to like stuff that is close to us, that maybe we can get in there somehow. That's just my opinion a little bit. But of course, you have to listen to everything. So that's the first thing. We said the other things. Then you'll be surprised. Basic piano, even before voice lessons. Basic piano comes first. Again, piano for a singer. I'm sending some of my students to a very young girl who's just teaching them how to play basic chords so they can accompany themselves, play the 1 and the 7, get
Very
to the
important.
chords, and be able to accompany yourself. Very simple. And along with that, very basic jazz harmony and theory. Nothing advanced, nothing complicated, that goes along with your piano lessons. Again, this is working towards the independent musician.
Yes. This
The piano is everything.
Especially piano, you say.
For me,
Because
piano
it's very
is
concrete, very concrete. When you press a note, it's the same note always.
Exactly. And you can play it easier than a guitar, like right away.
Yeah.
And again, not so much melody, but more for accompanying yourself in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then being able to play like roots and sing some modal exercises, or just play the roots, be your own bass player, even if you do. And then eventually being able to learn all of your songs that you want to sing from the piano and reading the lead sheet, the sheet music. Very most important thing before voice lessons. It's everything. This leads to being confident. This leads to being a musician and better communication with your fellow musicians. So basic piano for accompaniment, leading to this musicianship, independent musician. Then voice lessons. Absolutely, you have to take voice lessons. Absolutely, even if it's a half hour a week. I believe in classical. I believe even opera. You have to take voice lessons of some sort because this is your instrument. Can you imagine a horn player, a guitarist, they never take lessons on their instrument. You have to take voice lessons of some sort with find a reputable teacher. It can be a half an hour. You should do it in the beginning
You are
once a week.
talking about klasik şan, yani
Yeah,
classical
or
music.
with somebody like me or you, technique. You must
Okay,
study.
technique.
If you can handle opera, for me, it's the best, and even doing some little Ariantics. But you have to get to know your instrument, and the only way that you can do that is to work on vocal technique.
Just I came up one example in my mind. One of the best crooners, maybe, or he's not just a
Yeah.
crooner, but Tony Bennett. He knows
Yeah.
bel canto. That's why
Yeah.
he's still very strong.
Listen to that sound.
Despite
Yeah.
his age.
I mean, my voice is stronger now than it ever was. And I'm in my
Mm.
early 60s. So it's stronger now than ever. And so also for that, so some kind of technique lessons with the best teacher that you can get. I prefer classical to musical theater. I think it's closer to jazz. To get to know your instrument, to build your instrument, to develop its strength, its control. Because basically with jazz, you want to be able to manipulate your sound and your control and your flexibility. And if you don't know
If it
how
is
your
not
instrument
flexible.
works, if you can't, how do you work on something you don't understand? So that's important. And along with that, taking care of the body. So yoga, I think, is great, or some sort of breathing work. I've found that my students who do yoga and breathing work better than Pilates because it's closer to singing, I think, but some sort of full body breathing, relax, calming. Again, learning how to control and manipulate your body. I think this goes along with voice work, voice technique. I think it's a must on my must list. And then I don't know where to add this. I'm going to add this in two places. I do a lot of mode exercises after we do the classical warm-ups, which is just kind of playing a root and playing with a mode up and down. And that's another kind of flexibility and dexterity for the voice. I think that also has to be part of your technical practice. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Okay. And then obviously repertoire building is huge. Repertoire building is huge. I remember, even though I grew up in America, I grew up with jazz in my life. From the time I was born, I knew lots of songs, but I took one summer, 4 months, and I built a huge repertoire. And every day I just got up and I did my categories: ballad, swing, up-tempo, medium, blues, bossa, whatever. And I would just listen. And whatever I liked, I just put in the categories. You got to have hundreds of songs. You know, I get very frustrated when students come and say, oh, I don't, what songs? You got to do this. This is huge. I know you do this. You've done it. This is huge. Build your repertoire. 30 up-tempo, 20 medium, 15 ballads, 10 bossa.
It can be countless. We cannot limit it.
It's crucial. Look how the instrumentalists work. They know hundreds of tunes. This is huge. You don't need anybody but yourself and Spotify or whatever you use. These are the real musts. Those are those are the real musts. So you can see how all of this is work that you can do at home alone. Everything that I've listed. So repertoire building, and then basic improvisation lessons, I believe, should start at the beginning. I think that they should be at the beginning, just like the very simple mode exercises. So if you can find someone, a teacher who
they can connect to it,
they can sing it. Like, it's great to know the modes in 12 different keys, but if you can't work with it and sing with it, I have a very good, I don't want to use the word good, an effective system for singers that really helps them, go from the mode into the solo and to build the ear of modes. Let's say that. So I think some very beginning basic improv work is really important. And then you you work on a song that I work on all the time, everybody knows, like a Little Sunflower or a minor blues, where there are just very few chords. You sing the modes, you practice, you flow, and then you write some very simple solos. Very few notes, some short phrases, some very simple. Keep it fun. Again, everything you can do by yourself, even if you just play your root and your 7, you can do it. So basic
Yes.
improv is there. I did a nice workshop for EJ, that jazz camp. It was wonderful online this summer, and it was
Mhm.
great. I mean, the question that they asked is, what do we do about this issue that singers are so afraid to solo or scat? I like to use the word
Mhm.
solo. And
Yeah, you're
I
waiting
introduced
for that moment. Be like,
exactly, or like it's the thing that most folk, and I said, I have a really nice singer-friendly system that can help you feel more confident with
Mhm.
very simple changes, very simple modes. If you have the
Mhm.
basic piano and the harmony, you can write some simple solos.
Yes,
So these are the
yes, of
kind of things.
course.
And after that, bebop is very important. Whether you sing bebop or not, you don't have to ever, ever, ever, but you must learn bebop. You have to understand it. You should start out by choosing one tune that you can learn very slowly. Do that after you have some basic piano skills and do like 4 bars at a time. Slowly, slowly. Ba-de, ba-be, ba-be, ba-be, ba-be, ba. Be able to play it and sing it and start to understand the shape of bebop lines, the design of bebop lines. Again, you don't have to solo, you don't have to do bebop on stage, but you have to know it. You have to be able to understand it, and you gotta flow. Even if you're singing your melody in a ballad, bossa, it's a must. It's a
Yes,
must.
yes.
Let me see what else. Oh, okay. Recording yourself. This is the worst one. You have to record yourself all the time.
It's a nightmare. It's a
It's a
nightmare.
terrible nightmare, and you have to. And I hate it too. Be-
What's your advice? Because the moment you know that you're recording yourself is the beginning of the nightmare.
it
You
is because
become too self-conscious. I mean,
no. Are you
being
kidding?
self-conscious is good, but
Yeah.
too being too self-conscious is killing everything.
But the more you do it, the less you care, and it becomes less painful. Let's say that. You know,
Yeah.
my kids will tease me with old tapes of myself and play them because they're so horrible. But if you want to change what you do or you like what you do, you have to
Mhm.
listen. We really hear ourselves differently. And then you hear, like, what? And take notes. I like this. I don't like that. Oh, I'd like to work on that. Or go to your teacher and say, what are we going to do about this? I don't like this. You have to do it. Just put the tape recorder on and sing. Send your teacher recordings. Send your teacher recordings. Not old recordings,
Okay.
recordings that you're doing. Record your exercises. This has helped me in COVID, that I'm incorporating this more now. You asking about what's different. That's different. I'm going to definitely do more with recording, students sending recordings from now on.
Hmm.
Even when I'm back in the studio, send me what we talked about, because the student also gets more value for the lesson. Send me what you're doing between the lesson, and I'm going to make some comments so that you can do it
Yes.
differently. It gives them an extra value, doesn't it?
Yes, and about this recording process, it usually works for me. I don't know if it can work for everybody, but I have a tactic, not a tactic actually. This is something happens naturally. If I monitor my voice to myself,
Hmm.
this is something psychological actually.
Yeah.
I don't feel lonely. I'm together with my voice. Then
Oh,
I
it's nice.
chill
It's
down.
lovely.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't feel that much, oh, just on my own. Oh my goodness. No, then
Yeah.
I have my voice accompanying me and it suits my nerves. And then, but
It's
there's also a
wonderful.
challenge with that. If I will do something very dynamic, it just cuts me on the halfway because I
Yeah.
cannot jump too much because my voice is also coming to
Yeah.
me towards me. But in ballads or medium tempo songs, it really works well. But in bebops or it's limiting
I
my
mean, I think
performance.
I think it's great what you're saying, because it speaks to this period we're in of really, it's very, everybody's always saying this. It's, so typical, not terribly profound. Be with yourself. You're your own best friend. You're not alone because your home is inside of you and all of that. That's true. But if you can take the judgment out of it in the beginning, it's very hard. But if you take the judgment out of it and, like you said, make it a friend and just something that you're working on, process. This some concept of process is very difficult for Turkish students because it's not in your education system. At least it wasn't. I think it's coming in a little bit more. This idea of this is a process. I'm on a journey. This is how we're going. Oh, I like that. Let me work on that. Let's see what I do next time. So you're not, oh, this is good. This is bad. Oh my God, this is terrible. If you can just sort of ride with it, then go back, listen, take notes, and then try to play with it. Have fun with it. It should be a process. That will help make
Have
it
fun,
less
yes.
painful. Have fun, man. I mean, what the hell? What counts anymore? So it's singing, it's jazz. But the recording is great. Aiden always says, send me tracks, send me tracks, send me tracks, send me tracks. And he's right. Record, record, record, record. Send it to your teacher. Not professional to put on Instagram. I'm talking about for your own study, for
Mhm.
yourself. So
Yeah.
this is painful as it is. And the other thing, of course, is jam with someone other than, you can jam at home with your left hand and playbacks and all of that. You don't have to find the fancy musicians, the high level guys. Find a friend, someone you trust, a guitar player. I'm working with 20-year-olds right now. I love the 20-year-old generation. I'm having a blast with them. They care, they work, you send them songs, they work on them. Find somebody who's in it with you. They don't have to be great. You get together once in a while, have a few buddies. You don't have to prepare for a gig. De-emphasize, cool down on everything. Don't make everything so important, Get together with someone, put on a song, have a glass of wine, sing a
Very good
ballad.
advice. Yes.
Yeah, make everything less heated and less urgent.
Urgent. Yeah. This, mental play, mental
Yeah.
trick we have. It's urgent. We should, go ahead.
Like, oh my God, I'm going in the studio. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be like, no one cares. This is something I've learned, Sanat, and I don't mean this in a negative or cynical way. Nobody really cares about you and what you're doing. Everybody's trying so hard, hanging on, trying to survive on their own. They
Yes.
may love you, but they don't really care. What if I do this? What if he says that? Just have fun. Do it because you want to do it. Enjoy. It's
So that's
so
that's why,
quickly.
yeah, that's why I came up with a humble idea that I
Yeah,
should do the music that really belongs to me.
of
That
course.
is not a key for success or career. Because yes, nobody cares. But if I do something genuine, if I do something that is
Genuine,
sincere,
something that you love.
sincere to
Yeah, yeah.
myself,
It should
then
always be that.
people get that sincerity, and they want to listen to it. But
Yeah,
if you just show off, if you do a tour de force and show all your
yeah,
vocalists, blah blah blah, they just say, "Oh, well done," the
yeah,
emojis, and nothing else. It's not a real connection with people. Um,
exactly. Exactly. But the focus is still thinking about what they'll think, even though you say, I'm being more sincere. And it's true, they will connect with you more. But if
yeah.
we replace should with want, it's going to make
Yeah,
a big
yeah, yeah.
difference.
That would be the motto of this
Yeah.
interview, maybe.
Exactly.
Not
I
should,
really
but
want to do this. My
want.
piano, like even what I do right now, the music that I'm writing, it's very word focused because I write a lot of poetry and lyrics. I really love it. And I want it to be
We are
more
looking
word
forward.
focused. I hope so. But it's because that's what I feel like doing right now. Is it jazz? Is it what? It's jazz, it's groove, it's funk. I don't know what it is. But it's where I am right now. It's what I want to do. Will anybody listen to it? I don't know. But
Yeah.
it feels right. This is the time for doing what feels right. Just try to get your feelings of love and self-affirmation from within.
Yeah.
And as you said, people will come along with you if it's sincere, because this is what you said at the beginning, finding out who you are, what your sound is. Of course, you have to do the bebop, the improv, the listening, all of that in an intense way. That will help you find your own sound, even if it's a small, little, soft voice. All of that is in service of who you are as a person and who you are as an artist. Be
Yes.
yourself. Kendall, right? Kendall. Be yourself.
Randy, you're an amazing woman. And I'm so happy
Oh,
that we are doing this and we are publishing this interview
but it's
on
philosophy
Women's
too,
Day.
isn't it? Yeah. And you see, we need a support group because we're all thinking about these things. We feel lonely, we feel isolated.
Yes, yes, we will
So,
give that information also under this video once you start the project,
yeah,
you start the initiative. We will
I'll
give
tell
its
you,
information here under this video.
I think people need it. And I'll start with my private students because it's safer for them.
Okay.
Then when I feel like and also we're going to open up a program with teenagers. You know, you saw it, Singers Only Space is what it's going to be. SOS,
Yeah.
which is like help, IMDA, Singers Only Space. And it's going to have such things as this support groups.
Singer Only Space, SOS.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. IMDA.
Imdat.
So, but it all got stopped because of COVID. And but yeah, yeah, we got to be there for each other. That's for sure. But mostly for ourselves in the beginning, because
It's
you
a
know that
blessing in disguise.
yeah, tried and true statement. If I'm not good to myself, I'm no good for anyone else.
You're right. You're right. So we will be good to ourselves first. We will be caring to our souls.
Yeah.
We will concentrate on what we want, not
Yeah,
what
what
we
we
should.
love, what we love, and what we're passionate about. And you know what? Sometimes if you don't have a great passion, that's fine. Just loving something, liking it is good. That's good too.
And if jazz is really the music you want to do, then
Hmm.
all these basics you counted won't be shoulds. It
Yeah,
won't. They won't be a must list.
yeah,
They will
yeah,
be a list that we want to fulfill.
yeah. And I'm finding that most of my students, I think I can say recently, they're not really jazz diehards. They really want to sing funk or groove or
Okay,
soul, but they understand that the study of jazz is going to help them. And I think
great,
that's fine
great.
too. Because becoming a real jazz vocalist is very difficult,
Yeah.
difficult. And you have to really want it. And there aren't too many in Turkey who I would say are genuine jazz. Even myself, I'm more contemporary jazz,
Mhm,
modern. I'm not really like a Sibel, like real
mhm,
straight, good,
mhm,
solid jazz singer.
mhm, mhm.
So yeah, these are decisions. But yeah, we need to come together and help each other, that's for sure.
We will do, and hope this interview will be the one of the first steps for that journey together. And
I hope so. I hope so. And I think also, I don't know if we have time now. Maybe we shouldn't because we're talking about more important things. At
no
some
problem.
point, this SOS, I will also be teaching or putting out information of about a good order of study at home. If people feel overwhelmed by all of these things, there's a nice
Mhm.
order of study that you can do at home. But maybe that's going to be a little bit technical now because we're talking about all these nice
Oh, no,
psychological
that that
things.
that was a great coverage. That
Yeah,
was a great summary of what we can do, what not what we should do, but what we
yeah,
can do for
can do.
ourselves as jazz
Yeah,
vocals. Yes.
yeah.
So I thank you a million times.
My
I thank you
pleasure,
from the
Sana.
bottom of my heart,
A
dear
great
Randy.
pleasure. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I'm a witness of your how you touch to people's lives, and I'm
Oh,
one
thank
of
you. That's sweet.
those ones. You transformed me into a singer. I was
Oh,
just a hobby
Sana,
singer. You showed
thank
me
you.
the way, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience for
Gonna
me.
make me
I'm
cry.
Oh, no,
Thank you.
no, no, no, no,
Çok
no. Really,
teşekkürler.
real, really. You
Oh,
touch the people's lives, not putting any bad energy, but you are sending all your good vibes. And again,
did my
in this
best.
program, you did the same. And we thank you so much,
My
so
pleasure,
much.
Sanat. Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And I hope
Then
to see you really soon.
yes, yes, yes. Efendim, Randy Esen'le birlikteydik. İnanılmaz dop dolu bir program oldu. Altın değerinde, hatta yani paha biçilemez değerde tavsiyelerini bizlerle paylaştı. Aslında bunların bazıları Covid'den de bağımsız, bu zamanlardan da bağımsız, ama şu var ki kendimiz için neler yapabileceğimizi anlattı. Ne yapmamız gerektiğini değil, ne yapmak istediğimiz üzerine vurgu yapmak istedi. Çok teşekkür ediyoruz kendisine bu güzel sohbeti için. Korona Jazz Kliniği röportaj serimizde böyle bir episod olmasına çok memnun oldum. Ve Randy Esen'e hem kendim, hem Caz Dergisi, hem tüm caz vokal dostlarım adına çok teşekkür ediyorum buradan. Thank you so much, dear Randy.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.